Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geek-Stew, and today, guys, welcome back to another episode of Conspiracy Theories with Ike. That's right, I'm just kidding.
You just got pranked, bro!
It's not Conspiracy Theories with Ike this week, today, guys. We're actually doing a horror stew video. That's right. So, for any long-time viewers of the channel, you definitely remember Geek-Stew and Horror Stew as like the original, incarnation of original videos that I did. All of them are horror related and whatnot, and I still on occasion will do them, especially when major releases happen that really are big to me. And honestly, I've kind of gone away from the whole horror related content in exchange for the conspiracy theory related content because conspiracy theories do better. I'm not going to lie. But I will say this. I have been basically pouring a lot of my love of the horror genre into my podcast, Listen to the Screams, a horror podcast. Check it out if you haven't already. It's honestly really great. Again, we release every week on Thursdays, typically in the morning, and it's usually a quick hour long or so podcast. Nothing too intensive, nothing time consuming. Put it on the background, listen to us talk, and just shoot the shit about different horror movies and releases. And so that's basically what it is. So again, this week a little bit different. Apologize if it's not what you anticipated, but today I really wanted to review a video, or a movie I should say, that came out last week that I got to watch earlier this week on Monday, and I've just been really itching to talk about it more. I did talk about it on the Listen to Their Screams podcast, but this is going to be a little bit of a more spoiler-filled episode, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Spoiler alert for people who have not seen Terrifier 2. Spoiler alert. If you want to hear my little spoiler-less, review, check out Listen to Their Screams. But this is going to be 4 parts. We're going to do a synopsis, some backstory, my review, plus my rating of the movie. I'll be using the Scream rating from Letterboxd, and then any other thoughts that I have in my final thoughts section. But without further ado, let's get to it. So starting us off, and we're going to do a quick synopsis, just a synopsis of the film. This is just the synopsis according to Wikipedia, but Terrifier 2 is a 2022 American slasher film written, directed, edited, and produced by Damien Leone. That is a sequel of the Terrifier 2016 and the second film in the official franchise. It features the return of David Howard Thornton and Samantha Scafidi, who respectively portrayed Art the Clown and Victoria Hayes in the first film. It also stars Lauren Lavera, Elliot Fullman, Sarah Voigt, Kelly Heyman, and Casey Harnett, and the story follows Art's resurrection and pursuit of Sienna Shaw Lavera and her younger brother Jonathan Fullman on Halloween night, a year after the mutilating of sole survivor Victoria Scafidi and committing suicide upon police confrontation. Art the Clown committing suicide. With the synopsis out of the way, I do want to go over a little bit of backstory about Art the Clown. So this is important because Art the Clown did not start in Terrifier. Art the Clown originally starred in I don't know why I said starred like that, starred in the short film called The Ninth Circle. The Ninth Circle follows the pursuit of a young woman named Casey, played by actress Kayla Leon, in an empty train station on Halloween night. Merely a supporting character in this film, Art abducts Casey and brings her to a satanic cult to be sacrificed. Heard that right. Ninth Circle is the original film that Art the Clown appeared in. Definitely interesting. I've actually never watched this film because it's incredibly hard to find. But, in its original veracity, I should say, it's hard to find. However, Art also got his own film in 2011 called Terrifier, not to be confused with the Terrifier film from 2016 that is feature-length. With the 2011 Terrifier, we have Art stalking and tormenting a young woman who witnesses one of his previous murders. Now, this is important because I think the destination is not always the goal; it's the journey that follows. Now, this character then made his feature-length film debut in a movie called All Hallows Eve in 2013. All Hallows Eve is actually pretty interesting. It is it's actually a anthology type film that actually features and incorporates the prior 2 short films on segments as VHS tapes. That Sarah, who is played by Katie McGuire, watches with the children she's babysitting on Halloween night as Art enters the real world and murders children. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. All Hallows Eve is actually pretty good. I have talked about this before I didn't mean to flip you guys off.
I like that laugh.
I did actually do a review on the Terrifier film when I originally watched it a couple years ago. But I will say I did cover this a little bit, so that's why I'm just kind of speeding through it. But yeah, so that was All Hallows Eve. Now, before we get to the good stuff, Terrifier in 2016, which is what Terrifier 2 is then the sequel of, is the film that I've actually reviewed for, as I mentioned. But Art fills a garbage bag with a variety of weapons and begins wandering the streets of Miles County. He stumbles across the drunken Tara Hayes, played by Jenna Cannell, and Dawn, played by Catherine Corcoran, and the latter of whom provokes him. He slashes Dawn's tire and follows them into a nearby pizzeria where he finds himself fixated on the distraught Tara. He murders the two girls and anyone in his path, and he later begins a hunt for Tara's older sister, Victoria Hayes, played by Samantha Scafidi. After running her over with a car, he partially eats her face and commits suicide upon police confrontation, leaving her severely mutilated. In the final scene, he is resurrected in the morgue by an unknown force and promptly murders the coroner. That being said, Art in the last 10 years or so has definitely become a little bit of an icon, if I do say so myself. He's been pretty busy with these films as these leaded up to the wonderful Terrifier 2. And I really have to say that Art the Clown, in my opinion, has really solidified himself with these movies, with Terrifier, leading into Terrifier 2, as a bona fide icon. But now it's time for my review. So if you haven't listened to the episode or listened to those screams, you may not know this. But if you did, you actually may know. But you may know how I rated this film. But I'll just go ahead and tell you, just in case you didn't know. I rated this a motherfucking 5 screams out of 5. You heard that right. So Terrifier 2 is by and large a superior film to the original Terrifier, or any of Art the Clown's movies for that matter. Terrifier 2 upped the ante tenfold, and in my opinion, cemented Art the Clown as a bona fide slasher, icon, and villain. Terrifier 2 got super creative and was incredibly brutal from start to finish. This film really shocked me with the production quality and the absolute beautiful practical effects and beautiful practical gore, blood, etc. Lastly, I would say this film does a fantastic job at really nailing Art's backstory. Terrifier 1, in my opinion, was a showcase, or I should say preview, of what Damien Leone wanted, right? He wanted the Terrifier. He wanted Art the Clown. He wanted this film to be made. But Terrifier 2 was the beautiful execution of what Art really is. This movie, of course, ended with a cliffhanger, leaving us wanting more Art, and honestly, I do think we will get it. So as we go into final thoughts, man, I love this movie. This review might be shorter than my other videos, but oh well. But I can't say it enough. This movie really just blew me out of the water. It just blew me away. It was just so beautiful. My one gripe, and this is something that I talked about on the Listen to Their Screams podcast, so if you haven't checked it out, check it out.
Morty, if you say wow one more time, I swear to fucking go.
I'm going to keep pitching that until somebody complains, I guess. Even then, I'll probably still pitch it. But my one complaint, my one gripe, right, was the availability of this film. I think oftentimes a lot of people forget that no matter how good a movie is, a movie's only as good as its ability to be watched. A lot of modern day horror films are being released simultaneously in theaters and then on streaming. And I think, honestly, Terrifier 2 got a little lucky. Because here's the deal. The only theater that I could find Terrifier 2 at in my vicinity was AMC. Now, I couldn't find a definitive answer online. I guess I could have done a little more research, but I couldn't find a definitive answer. But I did find that Bloody Disgusting worked in conjunction, because Bloody Disgusting was like the production house or whatever for this. But I found out that Bloody Disgusting worked in conjunction with AMC and released the film in AMC theaters. And essentially, as far as I could tell, AMC theaters only. Okay. Now, since this was sort of an independent film type thing, AMC Theaters has different types of releases and release schedules that they do based on the type of movie. And this film kind of fell into that independent, like Fathom Events type thing, where it had a pretty limited release. So initially, in my area personally, we had a showing on last Thursday, which was sorry, I gotta look at this calendar here. It was Thursday the 6th. Only one showtime, okay? Only one. And it was at 7:30 at night. And now, mind you, this is like a 2.5 hour movie. And it was at like 7 o'clock at night, 7:30 at night. And it was like, we wanted to go watch it, but we couldn't, right? We couldn't go watch it. Well, then on like Friday or Saturday, they added another showtime for Sunday at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they also added a showtime for like 7 p.m. on Monday night, which is actually when me and my wife went and watched it. Was last Monday this week. So my gripe is this. A lot of times these wonderful horror movies, these independent films, they get into these agreements with these different companies like AMC or Regal or whatever cinema company that's releasing the film. And oftentimes I feel like AMC and these other companies don't give them a fair shake because their release schedule is incredibly limited. Their show times are incredibly limited. And here's the crazy part. Despite that, despite seeing this, because I saw this issue arise reoccurringly as I went through Twitter and Reddit and various threads talking about this film's release, a lot of people complained about the very small availability of showtime. Now, obviously, as a true fan, I made it happen, right? Regardless of my complaints, I made it happen. So I want to make that clear. I made it happen. But I wish that I didn't have to go to the extents that I did. I wish that they would have had more show times on the weekends, just some more availability, because honestly, this movie deserved it. But despite all of that issue, despite that complaint, despite all of that, Terrifier 2 did so well that they're adding more show times this coming week and this weekend. So despite my issues with it, despite my gripes and my complaints, at the end of the day, it didn't really matter because it got enough love that people still wanted to go see it, and they're going to have more show times this weekend. So if you haven't caught it, because that was a lot of people's concerns as I was talking to some folks, is that, well, this movie's already out of theaters, right? It was an independent release. It only had a short time window, but that's not the case anymore. We have more show times. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But honestly, that's my biggest gripe about this, because a lot of times, if you want your movie to be shown, if you want your movie to be seen, you have to release it in a major theater. And sometimes these major theaters definitely take advantage of the fact that it's an independent release, and they up the price of the tickets because AMC wants their pretty penny. And since it's a special event, they're able to do that. So it is what it is. I'm not going to bitch too much about it because at the end of the day, I got to see the movie. The movie was fantastic, and I'm just so happy I got to see it, honestly. But anyhow, those are my final thoughts about this. I know the final thoughts ended up being the longest part, as I feel like the other parts were pretty quick and concise. But despite all of that, wonderful movie. Would recommend watching it. If you haven't watched Terrifier, the original one, it's a lot of places. I believe you can watch it on Tubi for free, as well as All Hallows Eve. In addition to that, you can also check out Terrifier 2 coming hopefully to streaming soon, after the release, of course, in theaters. Right now, I think everyone's thinking it's going to come to, what was it? 1 second here. Going off camera for just a moment. Don't worry, I'll be back. Okay, Screambox. It was supposed to be released on Screambox, although no official announcement's been made, so that's honestly speculation. It's just Bloody Disgusting, I think, often works with Screambox, so there you go. But anyhow, keep an eye out for it on streaming or in theaters, and buy it when it comes to DVD. I know I'm gonna. But yeah, that's kind of what we're working with. But anyhow, if you haven't already, go ahead and like, subscribe, share the video, all that good jazz. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to see next time. If you want me to cover another horror movie, if there's a movie that you've watched recently you want me to watch, I'll watch it and review it. Or if you want to do more conspiracies, let me know that too. Yeah, go follow, listen to their Screams podcast. I gotta keep pitching it. I really enjoy doing this podcast. We do it weekly. We talk about all kinds of good stuff. Talked about Terrifier 2 this week, as well as the new Hellraiser movie. Next week, we're actually going to be covering Halloween Ends, which I'm super stoked for. If you are not going to go watch it, you're stupid, and I hate you.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid. Now wait just a minute. And you're ugly, just like your mum.
No, I'm kidding. But if you're not going to go watch it at least on streaming. It's on one of the streaming services. It's either Paramount or Peacock, I think, maybe. I don't know. There's so many of these stupid fucking streaming services. I could make a whole video about that. I think I don't hate to say it, but honestly, somebody needs to make like a primary streaming service, charge me $50 a year for it or $100 a year for it, and have all of these streaming services just on one, because it's stupid as shit. But Halloween Ends is going to actually be on one of the streaming services same day, simultaneous release, which is tomorrow. I'm going to see it in theaters on Saturday. I personally want to go see it. I love Halloween. I've talked about Halloween a lot. I actually need to revisit it and do a full rating of all of the Halloween movies, since this will probably be the last one for a while. But yeah, you know, it's fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful movie. I'm really excited to see it. All the trailers look really good. I think it's going to have a cool twist. But yeah, I'm just rambling at this point. But yeah, check out Listen to Their Screams. Find us anywhere at Listen to Screams. And yeah, that's it. I got to get out of here because I'm going too long here. But stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay awesome. We'll see you in the next one, and see ya.